is DJ Behike Sanakori right here, straight out of New York City, Letty, Lenape territory, and I'm in a very sacred area right now. It's a little windy today. Oh, I'm getting a little connection problems. Hold on a minute. Sacred area, right? How Columbus Circle can be a sacred area for indigenous peoples. Well, let me just throw this at you, okay? And you can process this, you can look it up. But there's a famous book called Native New Yorkers by Evan Pritchard, professor, Native American historian. He says traditionally the Lenape people of this island, Manhattan, used Columbus. Before Columbus Circle was created, it was considered Lenape Circle. This was a place of commerce. It was a place of festivals, of dancing. This circle existed way before the European settlement. Oh, we have Bloody Man. Thank you for being here. Straight out of the Dominican Republic, that looks like. Hey, so check this out. What was I saying? Okay. So this is why Columbus Circle is considered sacred for indigenous peoples, because for hundreds and thousands of years, this was the mecca where natives used to gather from Manhattan and all the different boroughs, the Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, and so on. They will meet right here to dance, to celebrate, to trade, and so on. And then in the 1600s, everything changed. When the Dutch came, then eventually the English came, everything changed. And how did it change? This sacred circle right here eventually became Columbus Circle. And this is usually the history of colonization, especially after an invasion, in which the so-called victor, they get to rename things, right? For thousands of years, this was a Lenape Circle, now it's Columbus Circle, but not too many people know this. So this is why I'm here to share this with you all. Very important to know. Back in 2000, the governor at the time, Andrew Cuomo, has supported without much arguments from the Italian community that Columbus Circle remains, that the statue remains. This is during the Cliff Floyd period, in which statues were taken down due to its racism or racist history. And Columbus was on the list. Actually, there's over, wow, I always forget the number, but I believe there's like 18 statues throughout the city of New York of Christopher Columbus. So this was the main one that was on the chopping block. And then Andrew Cuomo, who is Italian American, the former mayor de Blasio, they advocated that the statue remain, while other racist statues are taken down. Now, according to Andrew Cuomo, according to people like various Italian organizations, Italian American, they say that Columbus represents immigration, the Italian immigrant, Italian American struggle and success. And for many Europeans, it represents the European settlement, the European expansion here in the United States, or what we call Turtle Island. So for many people, that's fun, that's cool, that's very exciting, you know, to have a historical figure like Columbus representing their culture. And this is why, believe it or not, the federal government, the Department of the Interior, has given this statue right here in Columbus Circle federal status. It's in the National Registry of Monuments. This can never be taken down unless a huge effort is taken to convince the federal government that it should be taken down. But right now, according to the law, this statue can never be taken down because it's part of the National Registry. Defended and supported by the Department of the Interior, U.S. government. So, what am I going to say about that? Wow. Well, As an indigenous person from Puerto Rico, and it's a descendant, my family was born and raised, my relatives born and raised in Borinquen, what in colonization terms is called Puerto Rico, for thousands of years, okay? Thousands of years. 1492, there was a huge invasion in the Caribbean. First thing Columbus did was he changed the name of Biscay ID, he turned it into Hispaniola. So straight off the bat, you have some issues there. So, what do I say about that? 1493, another invasion occurred in a different island of Borinquen. That European expansion was started in the Caribbean. It came up to Turtle Island and all throughout the different smaller islands and the smaller Antilles or the Virgin Islands and so on. The English got involved, the French got involved. But little by little, these islands started getting their independence from Europe and created their own government. In 1898 in Puerto Rico, that stopped because after the Spanish-American War, Spain gifted the United States of America, Puerto Rico, what we call Borinquen. Again, a history of European expansion, history of United States expansion, settlement. New Mexico, Arizona, California, that all used to be Mexican land, you know? And now we have borders, right? But that's another topic. So the history of Columbus, saludo, yobi, lava, awesome, saludo. So why am I here? Well, one thing I'm here is just to tell the people that Columbus Circle, before it was constructed, it was Lenni Lenape Circle. And I think that has to come back. Well, I don't think. It has to come back. So there's indigenous peoples right here in New York City who are saying, nah, man, this has to come down. Okay, it has to come down. And that Lenape Circle has to come back. Okay? Why? Because it's been in existence for thousands of years. If anybody has any comments, you can write it down, both live and in the future. And I'll answer them as much as I can. So here's the thing. Columbus Circle right behind me, there's the statue. So this is historical. It's historical what happened with the invasion beginning in 1492 and the invasions and the settlements and the occupations that is happening in 2024. Africa, Gaza, West Bank, you name it. There's still world powers trying to invade and to make their mark because they feel they got the bigger weapons or they got the bigger tradition. I don't know. So guess what? As indigenous peoples throughout the world, we have to peck at this monster called the invader. We have to peck away like a sculptor, you know? We got to peck away at that stone until we can create a beautiful existence for ourselves. Okay? But we can't celebrate with these statues around. So what does this tell me? It tells me that New York City, and I know New York City has a lot of smart politicians. They get their bachelors, they get their masters. A lot of them are lawyers and you name it, right? They're smart people, right? And federal government is smart. You just can't walk in there with a resume and get a job, and you have to have intelligence, you have to have connections, you have to have all that stuff, you know? So you're telling me that people in federal government, people in New York City, are you telling me that they don't know what happened in the Caribbean, that Columbus would slice your nose if you rebelled against them? And that just wasn't in the indigenous people, it was also the Spanish, you know. You'll cut your nose. You'll walk around noseless to show people that you're a rebel, that you went against Columbus, you know. Or how about the indigenous peoples who after 1 month of working in the gold mines, that they didn't come back with 3 ounces of gold, their heads were chopped off. This is Christopher Columbus did that. Or how about Doña Maria, his slave Taina, who bare him 8 children. And and that was her role, to be a sex slave. Or how about the other children that he allowed to be raped? This is Christopher Columbus. You know, how about all the times that they invaded the different villages, the Yucayekes on the islands, and he pretty much said, destroy them all. We need that land. You know, but keep the women. We need the women. We need more sex slaves. This is Columbus. Los raíces son para siempre. Statues crumble. Hey, I like that quote. So this is what Columbus represents for indigenous peoples. I understand for Italian people, it represents something else. But since indigenous people's been here for thousands of years, right? We have a right to say what we can. Say what we want, coming from the heart. That this is wrong. Every October, there's a parade, there's a Columbus parade, and also there is an Indigenous Peoples Day event here in New York City. This is the New York way of compromising. But I believe that compromise cannot be set. This is not a situation where compromise is appropriate. Because you can't have statues taken down that are racist, rooted in racist history, and yet keep this statue. It doesn't make sense. Well, thank you, Yobi. I'm just going to say a few things in Spanish because I know some people are listening from the Caribbean. Cristóbal Colón es un hombre histórico que como yo dije, mató muchos indios, indígenas, y trató de extinguir todos los indígenas. Y aquí en Nueva York tenemos una estatua. Yo sé que en República Dominicana hay una, Puerto Rico hay una, muchas de las islas, muchas naciones tienen la estatua de Cristóbal Colón. Y eso para mí no es bueno. Eso para mí no es algo para celebrar. Aquí en Estados Unidos, esta estatua aquí en Nueva York está protegida por la ley del gobierno federal. Wow. So, ¿tú me estás diciendo que el gobierno federal acepta racismo? Wow. So you telling me that the federal government accepts genocide? Accepts racism? Well, obviously it does, especially in New York City. There's a statue right here. Look, Christopher Columbus. With all the evidence. See, I can forgive the early colonists, right? Because they didn't have this history. They didn't have Google, right? They didn't have universities like we have now. All this information is coming out. But what's the excuse now? I know there's a lot of excuses, but this is not right. So I just want to take this time and opportunity. Throughout the 5 boroughs of New York, there's sacred sites in this village areas, sites where the Lenape used to live. And there's still indigenous people that still live on their traditional lands. A lot of people don't know that. So this is my first, this is vlog number 2, but I'm also going to start a series of going to these sacred sites throughout the cities, throughout the boroughs. So this is the first one, just to show you guys that there was a long history before. As the proud owner of the Indigenous Mobile Library, we're going to go out there. I'm going to ask some volunteers and we can share some food, we can share some stories. But I'm going to put the dates out for New York City adventures here, trying to figure out this history, this indigenous history before the invasion, the 1600s here in New York. So I'm just going to end with that, and I'm just going to show you the statue one more time. I don't know if you can see it from here. So basically, it's federally protected. I'm gonna reach out to New York City, the city council, because before De Blasio left his mayor responsibilities, he said that they were gonna put Lenape historical markers around the statue, but I don't see that. I don't see that around. I don't see anything saying that this used to be the Lenape circle. So if anyone's interested in volunteering, help me out to bring these markers here, and also to take down the statue. Indigenous Day Remembrance, that's October. I'll see you there. It's the Sunday before Columbus Day. Come on out. I'll get more information about that. And yeah, we got to stop the city. We got to stop the federal government teaching this narrative that genocide is all right against indigenous peoples. That settlements, European settlements, invasion historically is all right. It's not. We have a story to tell. We're going to go to the sacred sites here in New York City so the ancestors can share their story. That's right. Emergency, right? All right, guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you soon. And I'm going to put a little video later about the dates and stuff of the tour with the Indigenous Mobile Library under the banner of the Taino Funhouse. It's all about having fun. Muchas gracias. Bon matum. See you soon.